Good morning. I am Brittany with Birth It Forward, certified birth and bereavement doula, certified yoga instructor, and family photographer. I am here today to do some prenatal and postpartum yoga with you. I think I might do just a standing flow today, especially for those of you who have trouble getting on the floor. Let's just get starting with some movement, and we will do a beginner's standard flow. Ready? Okay, let's start by taking some deep breaths, connecting with our body, preparing our body for the movement. So we're gonna take our arms up into the air, breathing in through our nose. At the top, we're gonna hold it for 2 seconds and then let it out as we let our arms down. And we're gonna do it again. I forgot, I've got some blocks here. If you happen to have blocks, great. If not, you can use a pillow or something just to give you a little extra height if you need it. So, one more breath. I'm gonna come to the top of my mat as we do this breath. Deep breath in. And as we come down this time, we're gonna take our arms and we're gonna do what's called a swan dive. Here, I'm gonna grab a block. You may want a block or two. We're gonna swan dive down. You can open your legs a little bit if you need to, especially for your baby belly here. I'm gonna keep mine closed. And we're going to attempt to touch our toes, otherwise use your block. Feeling that stretch all through the hamstrings, where we hold a lot of tension. If you have some sciatica, this is a great one. And take a deep breath. See if you can bring your head down a little farther with each exhale. If you need to, you can bend your knees a little bit in order to touch the floor. If you are ready, you can rotate your block to get just a tad lower as we take deep breaths. And then come up to your fingertips. Try and get a flat back here to a half forward fold. On the inhale, and then we're going to exhale back down. And we're going to roll back up nice and slow, allowing all that blood flow to come back into our body from our brain. Step back to the center of your mat. We're going to do a little bit of balance work. So let's start with a low ankle-supported tree. You can put your hands at your heart in a prayer pose. Just gently shift your weight to your left foot, putting your toes on the floor, trying not to put too much pressure on your leg. If you feel you are sturdy here, you can also grab a chair, use a table, or anything that's going to help give you a little bit of extra support just for that balance. As we get bigger and bigger in pregnancy, and as we become pregnant, we have a much higher blood flow. We have about 40% more blood flowing through our bodies. That's a lot more for your heart to pump, and our center of gravity gets really disrupted since we have a lot of extra weight here. Go ahead and place that foot to the floor. We're going to do the other foot. Deep breathing here. You can also place your hands on your hips if that is easier for you. I'm going to lift my foot to below my knee and do a leg supported with my hands at my heart. Breathing through the nose. Woo. Working on that balance, engaging your core. If you need to put your foot down, feel free. Go ahead and set that foot to the floor. We're going to come into a chair pose. I'm going to show you sideways. Hands up by your ears. And then we're just going to pretend like we're getting ready to sit in a chair. As we come down, you want some space in between your knees. If you're having trouble keeping space between your knees, you can put a block between them to help show you where they need to be as we come down into that chair pose. Okay, so as we're here, we want our back to stay up, our chest up, our weight in our heels so you can wiggle your toes. Come back up, and breathe. It's a long time for a new. My legs are burning, so I'm sure yours are. Ready? We're gonna do it again. Deep breath. After I yawn, 1 second. Okay, here we go. Deep breath. And sit in that chair. You can keep your hands at your heart or raise them. Breathing. And come back up. Good job. We're going to stay facing this way. We're going to come onto our left foot and slowly take our right foot back. We're going to stay on our toes back here. Just go as far as is comfortable. If this is what's comfortable, that is okay. I'm going to go a little farther back so I can come down into my lunge. So just keep taking that foot back. If you need to, you can have a chair next to you to support you. You're going to feel a stretch all through the front of this leg. And again, we can have our hands at our heart for this high lunge here. Breathe nice and deep as we get our balance. Find a point in front of you for your balance. Good job. Rotate your leg out for a goddess pose. And we're going to come nice and deep into this position. This is a great one for pelvic floor support, core support, thighs. We're toning, strengthening, helping to prepare the body. Glutes are being worked. Deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's give this some cactus arms. If you are able to, go ahead and sit a little farther. And again, we have our weight in our heels. You should be able to move your toes. If you need to, feel free to come up. Take a breath. And when you're ready, come back into this pose. Good job. We're going to rotate to the other side, putting your toes, your weight into your toes and your front heel. Again, we're going to feel all that stretch to the front of our leg. Deep breaths as we strengthen our thighs, our glutes, engaging your core. Now step back up to the top of your mat. Great job. Let's just stand here in a mountain pose for a minute as we allow our body to relax. Allow the air and blood flow to move. Deep breath. Engage your core. It might feel good if you're heavily pregnant. You're around 6 to 9 months in your last trimester. Put your hands under your belly and just lift. Hold that baby up a little bit. Widen your stance a tad to about hip width apart. Bend your knees. Now what you're going to do is take your butt and go whoop forward and lift that baby. Feel the pressure coming off your back. You can lean against a wall for this one. You can lean against your support person. But we're lifting that baby, providing some space. Deep breaths. Good job. Feel just that pressure off the back. There we go. Standing straight back up. We are going to do one of my favorites. It's the yogi squat, also known as malasana. So for this one, you may want a few blocks or some pillows. We're going to have our feet just wider than hip width apart. I find that is most comfortable for me. Sometimes I have to rearrange when I'm down in here. Sometimes hip width apart is great, but I do tend to like to be a little wider. So this mat has some lines. I like to be right up that line. So we're going to come down. You can use a chair, a couch, whatever you have handy to come down. So we're going to come down. Might want to use your block as you come down and begin to just bend in. Your knees might say, I don't like this too much. You can grab a block and set those underneath your bottom. for a supported malasana. Just put your elbows on those knees. We're going to sit here in our supported malasana. This position opens up the pelvis by an extra 30 to 40%. It is a great birthing position. It is also a great position to give baby space as labor begins. Helps relieve some pressure. I have lots of moms who in active labor love to come down into this position. You can do this on the bed or on the floor, on a ball. If you would like to do this unsupported, you can pull those blocks out. I tend to have to lean forward a little more. You want to try and keep those heels on the floor and find that balance. Woo! Even when you're not pregnant, balance will be tough. If you can't put your heels on the floor, that is okay. We want our back straight if we can. In our malasana, we want our back straight. Let's put our hands to the floor and rise up. You can use your blocks here to give you that height. But let's just warm up our hips a little bit more. We're going to come down. My knee is not liking that. And back up. Strengthening our legs, adding some flexibility to our hips. If you can't get all the way down, that is okay. You can come to here and back up. There we go. Great job. We are preparing our pelvis for the birth of our baby. And last time. Now, come back up one vertebrae at a time. We had a lot of blood flow that we blocked and increased. So just take a moment in mountain pose. Just let your body come back. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of a hip stretch. I highly recommend getting a table, a chair, something that you can use to support yourself if you don't feel you have the balance. Postpartum mamas, work on this core so that you can get that balance back. It does take some time to build it back up. I'm 2 years postpartum and I still don't always have it. So try and put an ankle on your knee. You might need to bend that knee just a little bit. And we're going to try and sit into this, feeling the stretch in our hips. Okay. Don't be nervous to get a tool if you need it. Okay, so hold that chair. You can also modify by sitting in the chair. So I'll show you the modifications first. We're sitting in the chair. We're going to put a knee up. Ooh, I like this better. Anyway, we're going to feel a nice deep stretch in this outer hip. This one is a great stretch for sciatica. And it's great to help prepare your pelvis and release a lot of that tension around the pelvis. Deep breaths. Just let your body get used to that stretch. And then we're going to deep breathe in. And on the exhale, just lean forward slightly. You can also push that knee down a little bit if that's comfortable. You're looking for a 90-degree. So this chair is perfect for me. It puts my knees in 90 degrees when they're down. So you want that knee at the 90 degree. And then you're just going to slightly bend forward. Feeling that stretch. You can put your head down and feel a stretch down your back too as we lean forward. But we want that back to stay nice and straight even with our head down. We're hinging, so we're coming forward at the waist, at these hips, to feel this outer stretch. I'm going to switch sides. I can't go quite as low when standing, but let me go ahead and show you that modification. So if you feel like you would prefer to stand for this stretch, go ahead and use your chair. Bend your knee and come down into the stretch. You're still gonna feel a nice stretch in the hip. We're just using our balance to hold us here, which also strengthens the other leg. So again, what this looks like seated. Oh yeah. Feeling that stretch all in the outer hip. Great job. Coming back up. Okay. Since I have the chair, we're going to continue using the chair. I'm going to slide it over. And I'm going to put a foot on the chair. If you feel you can balance, that is great. If not, just put it forward in front of you and come down this way. If the chair is too much, we're going to focus on our hamstrings. And I'm going to just slowly lean forward, keeping my back straight. You can point your toes and feel more stretch along the shin. You can lift your toes up. I can get a little farther with my toes up. With each exhale, try and go just a tad deeper into the stretch. One more breath here, and then we'll switch legs. Coming back up nice and slow. Let's switch legs. We're just going to point and flex for a second. Now begin to come forward. Feeling that stretch all through the hamstring. Try not to put pressure on your knee as you lean forward. And keep the knee and toes straight up, so don't let them rotate. Try and keep them straight up. As we feel that stretch all through the hamstring, the lower legs. Your knee might bend, and that's okay. Coming back up. Good job. Foot down to the floor. We're going to finish with a few more breaths. The arms up. Breathe in, hold it, and bring it down. Rotate your neck and shoulders. Great job. Thank you for being with me today, for joining me for this gentle yoga. Hopefully it helped hit some of those hip and leg spots that are causing you some problems, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you.